Welcome back. Today I want to talk to you about a fascinating subject which I call the gauntlet of sleep. Now we're entering into meditation. We know that that means to slow down. And part of that slowing down is that we're going to get into the slower brainwaves. But we don't want to stop there. So passing through those slower brainwaves is a bit of a challenge. It's a bit of a gauntlet. It's a bit of a balancing act. So let's talk about that challenge and how we can pass through it correctly. Let's get into it. In the wonderful movie Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, he's on a mission to find, first of all, his father, and second of all, the Holy Grail. So there are some beautiful religious overtones in the movie, and he finally gets to the temple, the correct temple, and now he has to pass through 3 very specific challenges. And that's the gauntlet. He passes through one, he passes through another, he passes through the third, and finally he has the choice of the cup, which represents actually a 4th challenge. If you watch that movie, it's a fantastic example of where the path is narrowing down and now there's a challenge to pass through. And we can think about these slower brainwaves in a very similar manner. We are going to get into heart rate variability resonance. That's going to lower our heart rate. Our breath rate is going to elongate. We're doing the long breathing on purpose. And as we get into a slower heart rate, the breath will automatically feel even more spacious and have the ability to make it even longer. So there's a beautiful process that's going on inside of the yogi as he meditates, both physically and mentally. We're also going to sit very still, which is going to help awaken the freeze response in the body. We go into the freeze response every single night. The body uses this so if we have a dream, we don't kick out, we don't roll out of our bed, we don't get up and walk into a wall while we're having a dream. The body is frozen in place very wonderfully. And the yogi experiences the same thing as he sits in meditation, and it's really delightful. All of this slowing down of the body is going to reflect back on the mind, and the mind itself will begin to slow down. And as it does so, it will automatically start going into the slower brain waves. Alpha, theta, delta, all of those will come online. And when all of those brain waves are online, they will help to subdue the conscious mind. And when you have the conscious mind, the alpha, theta, and the delta, all of the slower brainwaves, when you have all of that together, Anna Wise and Maxwell Cade called this the awakened mind. We're actually awake. We're not just operating with our conscious mind anymore. And for all the Kundalini yogis and the yogis that love energy, as soon as all of those brain waves are online, now we have the ability for the first time to begin to feel energy running through the body. How is that possible? Well, because you are in touch with the slower brain waves, you're in touch with the subconscious that operates automatically through the body. Now you can become aware of the automatic movements in the body. It also creates an incredible potential to begin to heal the body, because now you are directly in touch with the subconscious. The part of you which is actively endeavoring to heal the body, you are now in touch with it. And you can help to direct it, and you can help to make sure nothing's in the way of that healing. So getting in touch with the slower brainwaves is a really, really big deal. And the more we get in touch with them, the more we will feel at home with the slower brain waves and feel more at home with ourself. And that self-acceptance is gigantic, because now we're going to be more loving and accepting to the world around us, and we're going to be more loving and accepting to everybody that we meet. Why? Because we accept ourselves, right? And we're going to project that wherever we go, and it's going to be easier to accept others. So very, very transformative and very, very important for our entire spiritual lives. This is a wonderful and natural process, and every tradition talks about this journey of acceptance, this journey of letting go and accepting ourselves, this journey of slowing down and getting into these slower brainwaves. But when you get into that for the first time and you're not ready for it, you didn't know this was coming your way, your brain will start to feel a little bit fuzzy, a little bit muddly. The fairly clear thoughts that we're used to thinking will recede. And these slower, longer, incomplete thoughts may begin to arise. And when that happens, I've had yogis say, I think I'm going backwards, because I was getting more clear and more clear as the conscious mind subdued itself. And then suddenly they become aware of this whole other world of the subconscious. And they say, oh my God, it's like these weird, incomplete thoughts. These rambling thoughts that are inside of me, but they're not sharp and semi-clear like the conscious mind was. They're very fuzzy kind of thoughts. And now you're encountering the subconscious, and you have this beautiful opportunity to help unravel some of those thoughts. You can just let them be and allow themselves to unravel. And that unraveling will lead to a new level of clarity. So first the conscious mind gets a little bit subdued. That's the first level of clarity. Now the subconscious mind, we're becoming aware of it, and it is resolving itself or allowing it to unravel, and that leads to a second level of clarity. But in the beginning, we're going to feel a little bit fuzzy. And now we are walking the gauntlet. It's this little thin trail that we're heading through. And as we head through it, we have to attempt to balance both the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And so we're in this little balancing act, because if the conscious mind becomes too big, we get too much of the beta brainwave, then we'll fall off the gauntlet. And if we get too much of the subconscious mind, then we begin to fall asleep. It's totally okay to get a little bit sleepy. It's totally okay to get fuzzy. It's totally okay to find these moments where we just lose track. We go into a trance and we cannot keep a conscious mind train of thought. Maybe we're counting pranayama as we're in our practice, and suddenly we lose a little bit of our conscious mind and we lose our place. But then the conscious mind comes back and we notice that we lost our place. That's okay. That's natural. We want to be aware that it happened, and that's the balance. But don't let it bother you. We have to be okay. We have to be in the flow. And that's going to be this balancing act, where sometimes the conscious mind will dip down, and then sometimes the subconscious will dip down, and it's back and forth and back and forth, and that's the gauntlet. So sometimes you might lose your place. Sometimes you may space out a little bit. You don't want to spend the whole meditation just spacing out. You want to keep focusing back on something, whether it is the breath, whether it is the pranayama that you are practicing, whether it's the Om japa in the chakras. We want to bring back that focus. Because if we just allow the conscious mind to completely dip out, we're not balanced anymore. We're not maintaining that balance. And we don't want so much conscious mind that we feel very concentrated all of the time and it's a little bit manic. We don't want that, because now there's not enough of the subconscious to maintain the balance to pass through the gauntlet. We don't want to continuously space out, and we don't want to continuously be too concentrated. We want to focus gently and relax. Focus gently and relax. Focus gently and relax. And that will maintain that balance. And so it's going to fluctuate, because that's how you balance when you're on a tightrope and you've got a stick, right? It's going to fluctuate up and down, and we're going to endeavor to maintain that nice hairline balance between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. All right? So Forrest, why am I doing all of this? Because only in that place can we really begin to get the answers that we're looking for. In that state where we are bringing all of the brainwaves online, this is the place where we can suddenly begin to reflect the higher self. So we've all heard the story of the moon reflected in still waters. And that is exactly what we're endeavoring to do here. It is only in the subduing of the conscious mind and the awakening of the subconscious mind that we enter into the state of the still waters. Those still waters are the conscious mind subdued and the subconscious mind also unraveled. And now we have the still waters, and we can begin to reflect the moon of the higher self. The higher self knowing, the higher self inspiration will suddenly peek through and give us a message. It will give us clarity. It will give us inspiration. It will give us a sense of profound knowing, and it may even give us bliss. All of this is possible as we enter into the state of still waters. So that is why we want to maintain that balance. We have to enter into the subconscious, keep enough of the conscious mind that we are present, that we are focused in a particular direction, and yet maintain enough flow and ease and relaxation that we actually have the subconscious slower brain waves present and accounted for. Only in that perfect balance can we begin to reflect the higher self. The conscious mind cannot reflect the higher self. The conscious mind needs the subconscious present with a little bit of clarity in order to reflect the higher self. And that's why we want to pass through this gauntlet, pick up the cup, and taste the waters of the higher self. This process of integrating with the subconscious is a process of going down in order to go up. And I talk about this extensively in the third training, the Talking with the Higher Self training. And I explain how it corresponds in the brain. I explain the enlightenment pathway in that third training. It's a little bit of a thick training, all right? So if you pass through the training and you go, oh my God, I'm overloaded, don't worry. You can still get the progression and you can still do the progression. And if you have a little bit of trouble with the progression, what you've got to do is wait until you're dead tired. And if you feel stuck in your meditation, I feel like I've kind of hit a wall and I'm not maintaining that balance, Forrest. I think I have a little bit too much of my conscious mind and I'm not entering into those nice, deep, profound relaxation of the subconscious mind. I'm not balancing that. How can I put this back, right? Wait until you are dead tired. Just wait a little, stay up a little bit late until you're just about passing out. And now attempt to meditate, and it will force those slower brain waves to show up to the game. And of course, you're dead tired, so it might be a little more difficult to balance, but at least the slower brain waves are present and you get an experience of that. And so the same thing with this training, the talking with the higher self. If you have a little bit of trouble with it, wait till you're dead tired, then go through the progression, and suddenly everything will balance, everything will work, because the subconscious is there. The conscious mind is subdued and the subconscious is there, and everything begins to work. We're passing through that gauntlet correctly. It's a really important understanding, this going down to going up. So I hope that you loved this. If you did, be sure to hit that bell down below so I can see all of you next time.